This is News 6 Tonight.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to News 6 Tonight. We hope you're enjoying your holidays. We certainly are. And we want to get you caught up on some of the big stories you may have missed this year because there were a lot of them. We had a hard time winnowing this down to the top 6 stories of 2025. But we've done it, and we hope you agree. And if you don't agree, let us know what stories you missed or you think we should have put on this list. But we're going over the top 6 based on how many clicks they got on our website, clickorlando.com.
I like how she humble brag. We've done it again. Somehow we managed to get this great list together. That's Ginger Gadsden. I'm Matt Austin. If you're new to this, we do this show every single night. We stream on News 6 Plus at 9 o'clock, and we try to give you the day's news. Well, since it is a holiday, we are going to air this with. We went and searched the archives of clickorlando.com to see
spared no expense.
What were people most interested in the year 2025? And we came up with a list. Some of these might have surprised us.
I think, and some of the ones that weren't in the top 6 or at least the top 10 was pretty surprising to me. But you guys get to decide. It's what you're interested in, and we're just reporting on that.
And these are articles that landed on Click Orlando. Many of them got millions of clicks and views, and people were very interested in these particular articles, so I always find it very interesting.
They're all interesting stories. And it is Florida, after all.
Many of them are strange. And this first one was a very odd story.
It's a mystery.
Sad story. It was a mystery, and then kind of came
Started
clear.
to unravel,
so let's begin with that strange story. So in August, there was a young man. He was a tourist, and he was in Florida. His name is Giovanni Pelletier. He was riding in a car with some friends, and the friends report that they were smoking some weed. They were doing some drugs in the car, and they say at some point during this drive, they say he started to, what kids would say, tweak out or freak out a little bit. And then he said he needed to use the bathroom on the side of the road, so they pull over on the side of the road. And this is in Manatee County. This is not even in our viewing area. They were headed to Brevard County.
Yeah, he's coming from the West Coast,
And so then they get back in the car, and then things get even weirder. The people who were in the car, which consisted of his cousins and some friends, said he started cursing at them, threatening them, even at one point pulled out a knife, turns into a tussle. They pull off on the side of the road. He gets out of the car, and that's when things take an even weirder turn.
Just disappears, right?
Well, he takes off running, and there's some video that we've seen at points of him sprinting down this embankment, and he's running so fast you almost wouldn't be able to keep control down an embankment. So, and then he just disappeared for days. We had no idea what happened to this young man, and his family came out, and they were terrified. They were pushing sheriff's departments in Brevard County, even though the sheriff's department in Brevard County said, we have no idea. He was never even here. There's nothing for us to do.
But the family and the community, they rallied. They held searches over the weekend, and they were out putting up flyers looking for him.
Yeah, and they ended up finding him, oddly enough, not very far from where he ran, sprinted away from that car. He was found in a retention pond at the bottom of that embankment days later. And so the family came out. Our community correspondent, James Sparvero, had some questions for them about what they thought about how all this went down. This was when it happened, and before they were able to really get a lot figured out about this.
So if a 1 mile search would have been done thoroughly, there would have been a potential to figure out what happened to him.
A lot of those who have watched our reporting, they have questions about the people Gio was in the car with. What do you think? Our sheriff has ruled out that they've done anything wrong.
There was no evidence of any type of wrongdoing.
I personally do not know these boys at all, so I can't comment on their character, but I do know that I would never leave someone on the side of the road. Everyone knows something is wrong with the story. Nothing makes sense to anyone, and everyone sees a kind-hearted young boy.
And Morgan, it seems clear your family's not going to rest until you get some answers.
No, it's not over at all.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not sure how many more answers they're going to get in this case. As she said, the thing that really bothered the family was that he was with a group of young people. It sounds like young guys.
Yeah.
And when he started having whatever was going on with
An
them,
episode, it sounds like.
they
some
drove
sort of
off.
episode,
And they left him, and they called some family, and they were like, hey, we left him here. You can figure it out.
You
and pick
know,
him up.
Pelletier is 18, so you can imagine his friends are around that same age. And guys, they don't always make the very best decisions. And I don't know what any 18-year-old would have done in that position, because your friend is freaking out. He might be dangerous to not only himself,
He
but
has
to
a
you
knife as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's one of those situations. The family was upset because they said it took so long for authorities to take this seriously and start searching, that his body was so badly decomposed when they finally were able to find him at the bottom of that retention pond.
Yeah.
And
Just looking at it from the outside, it is strange how long it took to find him when he was
right
found
there.
not very far from where the last video and the last
almost where he was
sightings of
seen
him.
running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's
strange story.
It
That's
is
number
very
6.
strange.
Yeah.
Another story that caught your attention on our website comes to us out of New Smyrna Beach, which is in Seminole County. It's a dairy farm that has been linked to cases of, I believe, listeria, if I'm not mistaken. And there's a Florida mom.
I think it might be E. coli.
E. coli. Pardon me, E. coli. There's a Florida mom, her name is Rachel Maddox, and she sued this farm, claiming that after she drank the raw milk, she lost her unborn son. And she was suing, saying that her doctor is saying that, oh, I've never seen anything like this before, and what did you have? And she told him what she drank, and he was like, this is likely the cause of it. Let's listen to what that mom had to say.
I became very ill, and I mean, the sickest I've ever been in my life. I came really close to dying, and our son did die. The doctors told me that I was lucky to be alive.
Okay, and I do need to make a correction. She didn't drink it, as you pointed out.
Yeah, it was kind of
which is-
strange, and that struck me because as
came in
she
contact
says
with
she
it.
came in contact with it, she said her kid did drink it, and basically just having contact with the little one got her sick.
And so the problem is that the farm, the dairy farm, says that, and it says it on their website, and they say it on all their labels, that their milk is not for human consumption. And that's what's important to note. So if anybody does happen to ingest it, however they ingest it, it is not for human consumption. They have it for livestock and things like that. But obviously that mom is heartbroken because she lost her baby who was unborn, her unborn son. And it's just one of those stories when you hear about something like that happening, you're wondering, how in the world? Because you hear of people in the raw milk movement. And I know a lot of women who do actually drink raw milk.
Really?
And
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a thing. I have heard. Okay, so let's talk about that for a moment, because I have seen, you know how you see the clips online, you get in these certain circles of the short videos, and people saying, hey, when you pasteurize milk, it kills a lot of the
All the
added
good stuff.
benefits.
Yeah,
They think it
all the good
helps
stuff.
with allergies
Yeah.
and lactose intolerance and all of these things. But then when you look into the history of Louis Pasteur is famous for coming up with that process.
it's named after him.
Because a lot of people's lives were saved, because maybe there are, and maybe it even tastes better. Some people rave about raw milk and how good it is, but it is also on a farm. And if it comes in contact with anything else,
If you've
and you
ever
get
been
a
on a
little E. coli
farm,
on
you
there-
know all the things that happen out there. You're working in an environment where if you're not careful, there could be cross contamination and other things going on. So that's why you just have to be extra careful. But that's a story, because I think the raw milk movement is so large and growing that a lot of people were interested in hearing this mom's story and hearing what happened in her particular case.
And I do want to emphasize what you were saying. So it was a Keeley Farms. They're in New Smyrna Beach, and they sell this raw milk in place, and it was through another store, through another company, and it does say specifically on there, this is not for human consumption, and that's what Keeley Farms is saying. Hey, they were using
we
this
put it out there
in a way we told them not to. So
Yeah.
it's basically like if you're raising calves, you can feed them this milk. So interesting. Number 5, totally weird. First 2 stories, totally.
It's Florida, as I
totally
said.
Florida,
It's going to be strange.
Totally out there. Number 3 is right with you. So this one, oh, hey, let's give you a nice close-up
Oh,
of those
gross.
bed bugs. So this is the headline for you that caught a lot of clicks. This Florida city has the worst bed bug infestations in the state, according to a study. So Terminex released the worst bed bug report. According to the study,
Terminex.
some of the states appeared to have the highest parts of the list. We have Ohio, Texas, California, and of course our beautiful Sunshine State. I don't think we ranked as bad as a lot. So highest rated city on there, Tampa, St. Pete at number 26 in the U.S. Orlando Daytona Market came in at 30.
Still
Not
too high.
terrible.
Not terrible, but still a lot. It's
Have
high.
you? I've talked to a pest control. I ended up having a random conversation with a pest control person a few months ago
About bed bugs?
And yeah, the bed bug. He's like, man, those bed bugs keep us busy. And
Yeah.
You know what's weird? For a while, you've been in this news business a while. I would say 10 years ago, we probably had a bed bug story. A
lot, yeah.
Every day we were covering bed bugs in New York and everywhere else.
And we're not the only place where it happens, the only country. Where there was right before the Paris Olympics, there was a huge concern because some of the nicer hotels were having infestations. So you can't have this international thing and have bed bugs. But I was always told, did he tell you how to get rid of them or what you should do after you travel or come back?
I was going to give some travel tips, but
Okay,
I
good.
did want to say that this pest controller said it is pervasive now. He's like, yeah, we talked about it a lot when it was just coming out. He's like, you could talk about it every second. It's just,
Wow.
It is everywhere.
It keeps them busy.
Okay, so where you're traveling, you keep your suitcases zipped when you travel.
Yes.
So the bugs apparently can't
Can't
crawl
get in,
in
yeah.
there. When you get home, it says unpack on a hard surface, like go on the driveway.
They say outside
right?
in the heat.
Yeah,
In the heat.
in the
Keep
heat.
it outside. Yeah.
And just make sure you take your clothing out and stick
Burn
it
it.
right. Yeah, stick it right in the washer. Get it clean. Don't bring it into your bedroom because these things are really difficult to get rid of. Did I catch all of yours? Did you have anything
no,
else?
those are the ones, especially where you zip it, and then when you come back home, you don't unpack it inside your home. You put it out on the driveway in the hot Florida sun, and let that sun do its thing. And you could just let it sit out there for days. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So it'll be fine.
I bet your neighbors are going to love that. Next
Well,
time
I
you
mean,
get back from a trip,
okay,
and
I'm
just
not
keep
gonna-
your luggage out there on the
It's
driveway.
not like a yard sale or a garage sale. I will put it there neatly. It's fine.
Some people are going to come grab it.
All right.
We have much more amazing, interesting. They're probably not amazing, but they're interesting stories for you.
You
for
found them
2025.
pretty incredible, yeah.
You liked them.
So when we come back, this one is about a very popular teacher who lost her job all because she called a student by the name they wanted to be called. Welcome back to News 6 Tonight, everyone, as we count down the top 6 stories as chosen by you on clickorlando.com for 2025. We are halfway through, and I think so far we've had some pretty interesting and intriguing stories, and we're going to continue on that theme.
The rest of them are even more so.
Yeah, our third story involves a Satellite Beach teacher at Satellite High School. She was really very popular. You always have the one teacher in school who all the kids seem to love, and this teacher's name is Melissa Calhoun. Well, she got into a bit of hot water because she had known the student for several years at this school and called the student by the name the student had always been called by and the name the student wanted to be called by. But you know, we have some different Florida laws here which says you cannot call a student by a pronoun or a preferred name unless it is approved by the parents.
You have to
You
sign
have
off
to
on
actually
it.
sign
Yeah.
a piece of paper saying, hey, you can call my child this, this, or this. Well, Melissa Calhoun apparently did not do that, and she called the student by the name she's always called the student by. Got in a lot of trouble. The thing we still haven't been able to really nail down is who reported her for this, because students are in the classroom while this is happening. So it had to be a student who said something. Did they say it to a parent or an administrator because they didn't like it?
Yeah.
Well,
And you wouldn't expect it to be the student who's being called the thing that they wanted
that they
to
want
be
to be
called.
called.
So, yeah, that is
Exactly,
one of the
exactly.
questions.
So we got a chance to speak with this teacher, Melissa Calhoun. She was just an open book and very delightful because she was on the verge of losing her certificate and not having her contract renewed. The students protested because they loved her so much and wanted her to be able to keep her job. So here's a little bit of our interview we were able to get with her while this was all still unfolding.
A lot of people are saying, okay, why wouldn't she just follow
the rules?
Yeah, that's a very fair question.
There was never a conversation between you and the parent about, hey, please don't call my child this, please call my child this.
No, not until that formal complaint was actually lodged. And then all communication was really through my administration with that parent following that initial complaint. And that is the way it has continued to be.
That's the part I found really interesting, is that no one had ever said anything to her. There had been no complaints, and she didn't even know she was doing something wrong, according to her. She'd been with the school district for 11 years at this point and did not know.
The school district did claim that it happened on more than one occasion. Now, it was interesting when you had that interview with her, because that was the first time we had really heard her voice and heard her side of things. I think she became this cultural phenomenon, and we saw from two sides of this trans issue that has really popped up in the last few years. And she didn't actually seem to really want to be in the middle of the political scandal that she wound up in. She said
she wasn't trying to make a statement.
I mean, she literally said, and this is what she claims, that she made a mistake. She's like, I got used to calling this student by this name, and so I just continued to call it.
And you can imagine how that would happen if you have seen a child, if you're in high school and that student is now a senior, but you've seen them from their freshman year to their senior year, and I've always called you Matt, and now you're asking me to call you something else. Every once in a while, I'm going to slip up, and maybe I'll call you Maddie. And you don't want to be called Maddie, or that's not the name that your parents.
Calls me.
That's not, well, she didn't sign off on that.
She did, yeah. But well, I will say, so all of this popped up because state lawmakers said they started to feel like children were being impressed upon with some of these
pronouns,
more, they would call it liberal ideas and pronouns and that sort of thing. So they basically were saying, we don't want kids to be called anything that their parents aren't okay with. And I've seen it with my own kid. I have a daughter who's Olivia, and everybody in the world calls her Lulu. And so we got a form home that said, hey, are we allowed to call her Lulu? You have to sign off on this thing.
It has nothing to do with pronouns in that case. It's just the name your daughter wants to be called.
Yes,
and has
exactly.
always been.
It just became, nicknames are included.
As long as I've known you, I think it was maybe 4 or 5 years into me working here that I knew your daughter's name is actually Olivia.
Yeah, right.
No one knows that.
She's only Olivia when she gets in trouble.
Exactly.
Olivia.
She's the full name. She's the full name.
Yeah, I'm like, no, those teachers need to
so
call.
that's the story. That's number 3. But we always appreciate our teachers who are doing such great and phenomenal work in the classroom. And, that made that teacher's life a little more difficult because she got out of the classroom.
Yeah, and she's not working there anymore.
No.
We have not gotten an update on if she's been able to get a new
another
job.
Yeah.
So
we'll
check
continue
in
to
on
follow
that.
it.
Yeah. Well, I would have never guessed that the number 2 clicked story on clickorlando.com for all of 2025 had to do with a crosswalk, Ginger.
It's so exciting, isn't it? But when you talk about this crosswalk, you know why.
Well, it's a similar, political issue as to our last story is the reason that it generated so much interest online. So the state decided that crosswalks needed to be black and white. No rainbow, no other colors. And the state crews, they told municipalities, hey, we're done with these kind of crosswalks and we're going to paint over them. And then one night, in the middle of the night, they decided they were going to start painting over crosswalks. And they started in maybe the most controversial crosswalk that you could find in the state of Florida.
Oh, it's probably not maybe. That is one that it was controversial and it hurt a lot of people.
I would say that it's very controversial. So this was the site of the Pulse nightclub mass shooting. This is right outside of the Pulse nightclub. And so there, after that, sort of in memoriam to set up this place aside, they did the crosswalk in rainbow colors. And
it had been that way for quite some time, too.
The state had passed some laws saying legally you're no longer allowed to paint crosswalks in any other color. And
it's
of
a
course,
distraction.
You can tell by the signs this picked up a very strong political presence. People ended up getting arrested for not just painting over the crosswalks back rainbow, but they were also using sidewalk chalk to color
it was
back.
a back and forth. It would get painted black and white, and then some activists would come with their chalk, and they would chalk over it. The state would come back, they paint it black and white again. I mean, it was, and it's just a back and forth that a lot of people were pretty upset about.
Let's listen to an interview from somebody who was out there.
49 victims, you know, this was part of the memorial that the state came in and just ripped up and like it was nothing. So continuing this fight until those colors are returned, it just hits deep.
So this was a daily story that we were covering, picked up a lot of steam, and now these crosswalks. You'll still see that one in particular covered with chalk.
They covered some
days.
other ones too and made them black and
Yeah.
white. Some people were thinking these crosswalks are pretty innocuous. Why would you bother to do some that are like butterflies or
The
whatever?
Daytona had a checkered flag right outside the speedway. They had a crosswalk there. That
What
got
would you
painted over
expect
as
outside
well.
of the speedway, though? It's with a finish line.
Something like that. But the state asserts these are crosswalks. You're not supposed to have any sort
But
of...
if I'm not mistaken, aren't checkered flags black and white?
This one was green, I believe. So it was a little different than a normal crosswalk.
I digress.
Hey, the number one story clicked on Click O, coming up after the break.
Welcome back, everyone, as we count down the top 6 stories of 2025. And this one comes as no surprise to anyone because it's a story we still, in a sense, are talking about it. And it was recently resolved in the month of December. That's how fresh and how new it is. We're talking about a man who died on a roller coaster at Epic Universe. Stardust Racers is the name of the roller coaster. It's important because it was at a theme park that just opened up, the first brand new theme park since 1999 to open up here in Central Florida, and people were so excited about it. It opened up in May, and by September, tragedy already struck. We're talking about Kevin Rodriguez Zavala. He's a 32-year-old, and some would call him a roller coaster enthusiast, who is in a wheelchair. So he's paralyzed, I believe, from the waist down, and he's been on roller coasters before. But by the time he rode this particular one, it's September 17th, by the end of it, he would be dead.
Yeah.
He would be dead. He rode it with his girlfriend. Yeah, there was, they threatened lawsuits. The family acquired Benjamin Crump to come in and see what happened because we couldn't get a whole lot of information. Here's our investigator, Mike DeForest, asking some very important questions of Ben Crump.
Yes or no, did Mr. Rodriguez Zavala have, quote, back, neck, or similar physical conditions?
What you mean? He was fine. He was disabled.
That's what the ride sign says.
No.
Okay, so it turns out we just learned not very long ago that this man had a lot of pre-existing conditions, and his femur was broken previously, and then another femur was shattered on this ride. His hip had also become broken as well, and that's where his girlfriend said she saw him on that first dip lift out of the chair, and that's when she knew something was wrong, and the metal bar in front of him is how he got that blunt force trauma. And Universal, they've settled, but they cannot disclose the terms of whatever that settlement is. So
that was the most clicked on story for 2025.